with no hope.
Saints Row began development in 2003 as Bling for the PlayStation to by Volition, a PC developer known for the Red Faction series at the time. The original concept for the game stayed quite similar to the original game, except instead of purple the Saints wore green. That was until the release of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas in 2004, causing Volition to change the Saints to purple and change platform to the Xbox 360. After its announcement in 2005, also under the new name, Saints Row. At E3 2005, Saints Row was officially announced for the Xbox 360 with a great trailer that looks very similar to the original game that would release soon after. I will now play the trailer.
Started out with nothing, just a kid from the streets with nothing to lose. Then I met Julius, and everything changed.
Welcome to the 3rd Street Saints.
Once I joined the 3rd Street Saints, everything started going my way. I'd run some jobs, get paid, and Lady Luck was on my side. Now, I have the women, the clothes, the rides, but it's not enough. I want more. I want it all.
Come on.
That's the great thing about this city. It's there for the taking, if you've got what it takes.
On the 29th of August 2006, Saints Row 1 released and sold 1 million copies with majority positive ratings. However, most critics compared it to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and labeled it as a GTA clone. The game ends with a plot twist, as your gang leader betrays you and blows up a yacht that you were on, sending you to jail and in a coma. However, despite all this game's flaws and labels as a GTA clone, it still performed well and developed a fanbase. As a result, Volition began work on a sequel to their misunderstood darling, Saints Row 2. Volition's darling, their Magnum Opus, the gold standard, the unrealistic expectation setter, Saints Row 2. After Saints Row 1, Volition got to work on Saints Row 2, and it released on the 29th of May 2008, exactly 1 month after Grand Theft Auto 4's release. And like 1, it released on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, also releasing on the PC in 2009. The game follows a couple years after the first game, waking up in prison and from a coma and escaping. During your coma, new gangs took over the city and you have to take it back once more. Also, the Elder Corporation, a former clothing company, has rose to power and took over Saints Row the district, not the game. After dealing with all 3 gangs in the city, Alder focuses on you and your gang. However, they fail, and you eliminate their CEO, sending him out of the tallest building in the city. The game ends with a helicopter flight out of the city, leading to the next game. The game also features some returning side characters, but also main characters like Johnny Gat, your best friend, and Julius, your former gang leader, who you hunt and eventually kill in an epilogue. Saints Row 2 also got to bonus DLCs. Alter Exposed, where you follow real porn actor Tara Patrick in dismantling and exposing Alter, and Corporate Warfare, where Alter falls into civil war between Dex, a former Saint member from Saints Row 1, and a defected executive who wants Alter collapsed. But previous DLC ends with Dex leaving a shallow ending for a great character until 2015, with yet another shallow ending. We'll get to that later. Overall, Saints Row 2 is many people's favorite Saints Row, and the game performed exceptionally well, selling triple the amount of Saints Row 1 at 3.4 million copies sold. it wouldn't be for another 3 years until the unrealistic expectations set by Saints Row 2 would be inevitably let down by the release of Saints Row the Third.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Before the release of Saints Row the Third, THQ Volition's publisher was nearing bankruptcy and needed a game to keep them afloat. Along came Saints Row 3 in 2011. After Saints Row 2, the Saints became celebrities, releasing energy drinks and deodorant. They are robbing a bank when they are captured by the Syndicate, a gang from the nearby city of Steelport, and meet its leader Philippe Lauren. Johnny then breaks free as you leave the cargo plane. However, just before you leave, Johnny makes a radio call, however is cut off by gunfire and is presumed dead. Yet another shallow ending for a great character with a shallow ending. For God's sake, Volition. After escaping the plane, you go for the Syndicate Tower and kill Philippe. Then more of the Syndicate attack you. This game has two endings. One, go save your comrades on the Statue of Liberty, and then the private military leaves, or go kill the main antagonist of the game at the airport. But let your comrades die. You then have to defend against the private military's gunship and eliminate their leader on the ship, and then blow the gunship up, which is arguably the cooler ending. However, the save your comrade ending is canon, being proven by the next game. Also in this game, the crazy was massively increased, and the game ignored its gangster roots. In Saints Row 1 and 2, however, the game sold more than its predecessors at 5.5 million copies. Saints Row the Third is received as okay by OG fans, but the next entry in the series would be heavily controversial, and the black sheep of the series, Saints Row 4.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
When it came time for Saints Row 4, THQ had already gone bankrupt. Saints Row 4 began development as Saints Row the Third Enter the Dominatrix, a DLC for the last game. Before becoming a full game, the idea for Enter the Dominatrix was superpowers, a controversial decision. The game released on the 19th of August 2013, and one of the main aims of the game was for a Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 release before the release of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5 in September 2013. The game follows after the events of the third and the hunting of Cyrus Temple, the private military leader from the previous game, who has teamed up with Arab terrorists. The story follows you becoming the US president and being attacked by aliens, and then in a simulation of Steelport. The game's story is incredibly criticized for being wacky and goofy. This game was not received well by pretty much everyone, and the future of the series looked dark. The ending was a dance sequence after you killed the alien overlord with "This Is How We Do It" playing. After the release, people thought the legacy of the Saints was over and we'd never see them again. However, in 2015, a new Saints Row would be released and hated on again. However, before we get there is still some positives of Saints Row 4, like the return of classic characters like Ben King from Saints Row 1 and Johnny Gat, who returns. However, let's move on to the next game in the series. Oh God, Saints Row Get Out of Hell was released on the 20th of January 2015 and follows after the events of Saints Row 4, where the Saints are celebrating the player's birthday when they are captured and took to hell. Johnny Gat then has to go to hell and rescue them. This game also has returning characters including the Saints Row 4 cast, Alter CEO Dane Vogel, and historical figures like Shakespeare and Vladimir Taylor. I'm going to be honest, this is the only Saints Row I've never played. The game received even more backlash for the craziness and boring story and gameplay. Remember, in Saints Row 2 I talked about Dex. Well, he returns in Get Out of Hell as a side character in free mode that you kill. Volition never listened to the fans after Get Out of Hell. Saints Row went quiet again, this time for 6 years until.
Y'all going the hipster route with this shit? Come on, man! Hipsters, fucking hipsters.
You serious?
Dear God, this game is so exceedingly insufferable that even simply watching someone else play this dumpster fire is a form of torture all its own. It's hard to overstate what a failure this game is in terms of writing, characterization, and gameplay.
What? Okay. You know, when the boss got scary and, like, when the boss got really angry in, like, Saints Row 2, that was actually scary. This, I was just like, what is he saying right now?
Saints Row fans' true nightmare came true. The reboot was terrible. The characters were insufferable and cringe, the story was boring, and the villains were mediocre. Volition was even merged into Gearbox Studios, closing the doors on the Saints Row franchise and the Saints for now, due to the negative reception of the reboot. It is unlikely we see the Saints again for a long while. And hopefully it isn't the college student hipsters trying to pay rent. The story of Saints Row is a tragedy. From legendary gangster games labeled as GT clones to wacky and crazy mediocre games leading to the franchise losing its fan base, and studios being effectively changed hands, and Saints Row coming to a sad end.
Saints' legacy ends here, not with a bang, but with a whimper.